Hello, kiddies. It's your old pal, the Crypt Keeper. And you're listening to Three Guys in a Flick. The good, the bad, and the gruesomely absurd.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
No idea. Not a bloody clue. Maybe there was a party at a zoo, and a monkey fucked a fish.
Three guys and a flick with Duncan and John. Dive into the movies well after the dawn. From the good to the bad to the wildly absurd. They give a fuck about films. Their voices are heard.
Welcome back. You are listening to Three Guys in a Flick. This is where we review the good, the bad, and the absurd. Tonight's episode, Attack the Block. Beware spoilers. Coming to you from the block in South London on Guy Fawkes Night, my name is Don. And to my right, we have the comic book guy, John.
Aye, bruv.
Allow it. And to my left, we have the professor, Ken.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing well.
How are you just doing smashing, bruv?
Thank you. I guess you are.
What about you? How are you doing?
I'm in it.
Are you? Allow it. Tonight we are talking about Attack the Block. Attack the Block comes to us because, well, we saw John Boyega at Comic-Con and he talked about it. And I, for one, had never seen it. Comic book guy, had you seen it?
I hadn't even heard of it.
And Professor, had you seen it?
Yep.
Well, there you go.
Courtesy of my son.
Thank you, TJ. So on the strength of his panel, it sounded really interesting. Professor said it was good.
He was very proud of it.
As well, he should be. And here we are.
And I think this movie, sums up. I mean, it's like the perfect movie for your favorite quote, your favorite phrase.
For fuck's sakes?
No.
What?
Play stupid games.
Win stupid prizes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but there is a lesson at the end of the day.
Is there?
Absolutely. Do you not get it?
Don't kick the shit out of a little alien?
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Exactly.
If you're not a dick, then, you know.
No bad juju.
No bad juju.
You won't get alien jizz on you.
Allow it. Released on May 11th, 2011, Attack the Block was directed by Joe Cornish, written by Joe Cornish, and it stars John Boyega, Jodie Whittaker, Alex Ismail, Franz Drummer, Leon Jones, Simon Howard, Luke Treadaway, Nick Frost, and a bunch of other actors.
How'd this movie do, Don?
This movie was made for $13 million and brought in $6.5 million.
I'm guessing it didn't do so well because me, for an example, I like science fiction movies, and I'd never heard of this movie.
Yeah, well, I don't think it got a huge release in the States.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, but it was selected for an award at Sundance, and it got a lot of praise, and people who watched it right off the bat loved it.
Quentin Tarantino referred to it as one of his top 10 movies of 2011.
Yeah, and that's high praise coming from Mr. Tarantino. Joe Cornish.
Joe Cornish, he is responsible for directing music videos. He did direct a music video for, I think it was one of the Daniel Craig Bond movies. I don't know if it was Quantum of Solace or Casino Royale. Regardless of that, he doesn't have much in his wheelhouse for directing.
This was his directing debut, wasn't it?
For a full-length feature.
Full-length feature.
Yes. And he is also responsible for writing this. Did you happen to see the other movie that he gets writing credits for?
Yeah, he got writing credits for Ant-Man because he is buddies and pals with Edgar Wright.
Man, oh man, what is that about? Ant-Man. That's a big movie.
Yeah, it is a big movie. And, you know, he's going to get this made, and he gets his $13 million because he knows Edgar Wright. And Edgar Wright is a executive producer on this, and, you know, they've been partners for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's in pre-production. He's got Attack the Block 2 but who knows if we ever get to see the light of day on that. Maybe we do, maybe we don't.
It was Quantum of Solace. It was the Alicia Keys and Jack White tune. It's great.
Oh, right on.
Great tune. I love that fucking song. And yes, according to John Boyega at Comic-Con, he kind of hinted that they had been talking, and we know you never know. We may get a sequel to this.
Yeah. The John Boyega look in this, it is so funny to think of him as being Finn in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, well, that was my first introduction to him.
Yes, absolutely, because he doesn't really have much in the way of other things that we have seen him in, unless, you have been following, more of a European movie look.
Yeah. In fact, this was his first movie. He found out about the audition through a newspaper article.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
about 1,500 kids showed up from various schools to audition for this movie. And I guess also the way he designed the script was the kids that he picked, he wanted to make it the style that they spoke in.
Yeah, he was trying to make it as authentic as possible. And after knowing that and watching it last night, the dialogue in this, it flows and it seems very natural.
Yeah,
and,
it feels good.
And I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for these British films, or the UK films, right? I mean, I loved Snatch. I love this one. Anything by Guy Ritchie, I'll watch.
Yeah.
I have to admit, though, I had to watch it with subtitles.
Well, I watch everything with subtitles. So welcome to my world, bruv.
I just want to know if you guys are big fans of Jodie Whittaker.
I got to be honest with you. I don't do Doctor Who.
I don't do Who either.
Oh, come on.
The wife does.
What do you mean? Come on. I don't do it. I have never watched Doctor Who in my life. So I wouldn't have known that she was one of the doctors.
Is she the gal that's in my Emerald City Comic-Con picture?
No, with
the little
David.
blonde gal?
No, she is not.
No, that's a different.
That was Rose Tyler.
See, I don't do Who.
So I'm glad you know names. I knew David Tennant. We got a picture with him and the gal.
Yeah, Rose. Well, yeah, he was the doctor and she was Rose Tyler.
Yeah. So
Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm a Who fan.
how long have you watched like the originals?
I've watched some of the originals. I'm not a big fan of the originals. I liked it when they relaunched it.
Oh yeah. As we were talking about this cast, what do you guys think of all of the characters that we didn't know?
I thought most of the kids did pretty well. I mean, for their first time out.
Yeah, I kind of had a little soft spot in my heart for these kids after we get going, but when
Absolutely.
it first started, I'm like, these fucking little punks.
Yeah, they're little shits. But
Yeah.
we learn to grow with them.
I feel like the one that grew on me the most was Pest.
Absolutely.
Pest was fun.
Yeah.
Pest was fun. The one with glasses I really liked until, well, he got his throat ripped out. Which I didn't see coming.
The guy who was the zoology student who was just kind of awkward.
Brewis?
Yeah, he was based on the director-writer. That's how he saw himself as a younger person.
Yeah. In his 20s, borrowing his mom and dad's Volvo, which is his Volvo in the movie.
Very socially awkward.
And he would go buy his weed. What'd you guys think of Nick Frost?
Having him in there, it's certainly good. Absolutely. But I felt like that he was put in there superfluously. He didn't necessarily, I don't know. He just didn't warm to what he was in there for me.
Huh? What'd you think?
I just thought it was a pleasant surprise to see him in it because, like, you have all these unknown faces, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, that's Nick Frost.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I think that when Nick Frost pops up in anything, it's a delight because I just think he's a delightful character. I like that he has the same long hair that he did in Paul.
See, I didn't like the long hair.
I love the long hair, but I love long hair. So,
Well, I love Paul.
Yeah.
Do you know what this movie was inspired by?
Joe Cornish was mugged by some Utes, and some Utes, and he noticed that they were just as scared as he was. And then after it was all over, whatever, he actually interviewed the guy who did it, which he based Moses on. And that's kind of where this whole thing took off.
You know what really works for this are the alien creatures.
You didn't like them?
No.
Yes.
I thought they were great.
They were freaking just guys in, like, monkey, gorilla, dog suits running around with rave teeth.
No, I disagree.
You know what they were inspired by, though?
Yeah, Space Invaders. That's the first thing I thought because of their jagged points.
The jagged fur.
Can you call it fur? Do they show us it's fur? Because every time we see them, they're just black.
There is a point where they go and like someone touches one and rubs the fur.
Yes, it's after the kill with the samurai sword.
Oh, okay.
And then we see the blackness of the fur when one of the guys puts his hand down onto the fur.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. No, I really dug the creature design because it was simple and the glowing teeth was reminiscent of Alien to me. But no, I liked them.
I felt like this movie was a cross between Goonies and Pitch Black.
That's a good comparison.
Did you catch all the like love that Joe Cornish put into it for other sci-fi movies?
I noticed the Thing right away. And what else?
All the street names are based off of different sci-fi characters or movies or authors. Like Wyndham Tower was named after John Wyndham from the Day of the Trifeds. You have Wells Court after H.G. Wells. Clark Court after Arthur C. Clarke. Adams after Douglas Adams. You have all of the thing. Pest, his outfit was supposed to represent Boba Fett. It was a call out to Boba Fett.
I didn't catch any of that.
Again, you mentioned the Space Invader aliens. It's the design on the side of the arcade box that inspired the aliens. Just little things like that he threw in to kind of show his love for sci-fi.
Yeah, right on. Who was your favorite of the kids? Was it Pest?
I would go with Pest.
Yeah, me too.
Especially when he gets stoned.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I like how he keeps coming on to the nurse.
I have to ask, though, every time he pulled out a firework and shot off a firework, did you notice that the fireworks kept reappearing in his backpack?
No, I didn't pay attention.
I didn't either.
But I'm a child that grew up with Commando and remember how Arnold's bullets just kept reappearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of along the same lines, which is fine with me.
All right, guys. I think I'm ready for a little bit of trivia. What do you say? You want to do some trivia now? Or?
Let's attack the block, bruv.
Allow it.
So when the guys, towards the beginning of the movie, they take the elevator and they take the express elevator to the penthouse suite. What floor is pushed to stop at?
Done. 19.
19 is correct. So when Hi-Hats, he catches up with the gang and he starts firing at us as soon as he gets out of the elevator, what level does the wall say we are on?
Done. 13.
No.
John.
Yes.
7?
No. 10.
I was going to say 10. Lame.
Question 3. Just before Brewis gives his theory of Moses being covered with some kind of pheromone, what does Pest say to Moses?
Dawn. He says, he says, let's get it stoned.
No, sir.
You got jizzed on?
No. He's like, rah, Moses, your jacket's gone rave.
Oh, wow. He's kind of kicking our ass here. All right, buddy.
Question number 4. When Sam and Moses chat after she enters his flat, who does Moses say he lives with?
Don, his uncle.
Correct. Question number 5. After Moses destroys his flat by blowing it up, he is left dangling over the side of the building. What is he dangling to that
John.
keeps him from falling?
John. A flag.
I'll accept it.
Were you looking for the Union Jack?
The British flag.
Yeah.
So this week's winner is Don.
Nice. On Guy Fawkes Night in South London, trainee nurse Samantha Adams is mugged by a gang of teenage boys led by Moses, along with Pest, Dennis, Jerome, and Biggs. A meteor crashes nearby during the incident, and Moses is scratched by a small alien creature that emerges. The boys kill the creature and bring it to local weed dealer Ron and his boss, Hi-Hats, hoping for recognition. Soon, more meteors fall, but the new creatures are larger and more dangerous. While Moses is arrested by police, the aliens kill the officers, trapping Moses and Samantha in a van. After a wild escape, the group is now being hunted by both aliens and Hi-Hat, who mistakenly believes Moses is trying to usurp his authority. All right, so this movie starts off. I thought it was actually kind of interesting the way the credits roll during this, because we're introduced to Sam, and she gets on the phone and she starts walking, but every so often the screen will go black, no sound, and we'll get a credit. And I like how the film did that, because it's kind of like revving an engine is how I kind of see it.
Mm-hmm.
And as she's walking, more credits, and then we see the 5 Utes.
which was supposed to be like the director was trying to make the point of hoodies and how people assume kids in hoodies are up to no good.
And by watching it, wouldn't you think that's a safe assumption?
Well, especially the way that they're looking at her and then they start to surround her.
So, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
But it was supposed to be, even just looking at them, that's your first impression is oh crap, something's about to go down.
Yeah. Well, he's not wrong, because shit goes down. I didn't think that it was going to be as aggressive as it was for some reason. I don't know why. But we're introduced to Moses and the gang, and they are going to mug Sam.
We also briefly get a shot of a shooting star from space closing in on the Earth. And then we get down to the planet, and it's, all the fireworks in the evening, and we catch up. And now we're with Sam being confronted by Moses and his little group, but they are abruptly interrupted just after she hands over her ring.
Just our first introduction to Moses, he's pretty aggressive with that knife, the way he's holding at her, and he's, violently taking the ring off of her finger. You're thinking just a bunch of asshole kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to think of them as little shits.
Little shit asses is what they are. Yeah, I didn't like Moses and the gang when this movie first started, but I knew the movie is going to revolve around them, so I had to just, stick with it.
I found throughout this entire movie, it was near impossible to root for Moses or to like Moses, because I started to think of it as, what if that was somebody I knew? What if that was Katie? Or what if that was Elise that got mugged by these guys? I'd want them to be alien chow. I'd want them to get their comeuppance.
Yeah, well, if they did that, then Katie or Elise could potentially die because they save her.
But she wouldn't have been in the van later on,
Well, it all plays out the way it plays out.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Plus, if you think about it, Katie and Elise would have been safe, 100% safe, because why were the aliens after them? They were after Moses. So if Moses got killed somewhere else, they would have never been in harm.
Yeah, well, you're basically rewriting the movie, knowing how it ends, changing it where you want to change it to fit. I get what you're saying, and it's a bummer that his arc didn't sway you, because that's what it was supposed to do. But I mean, hey, we all watch things differently.
Yeah, I just feel like throughout this whole movie, all I kept thinking was, he's the cause of all this. If he hadn't fucking gone aggressive on the little alien fuck toy, if he hadn't gone, Cujo on it and killed it and caused all these problems and mugged her and did all this stuff, none of this would have happened. Those people wouldn't have died, and he wouldn't have led all the aliens along.
Well, then you wouldn't have a movie now, would you?
No.
Instead, what you would have is you would have a full-blown alien invasion, because Mama has become impregnated by all of her little siblings showering the earth. And next thing you know, you got a full-blown excursion of all of these critters everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah,
just don't get them wet after midnight.
But the director has said the critters were not aggressive normally, and it wasn't an alien invasion. This is just how these critters breed. Is their spawn lands on a planet, they find the little female, they do their things, they breed, they're sent off to the next planet.
Yeah, but
he said that these were not the villains in the movie. Hi-Hat was the villain in the movie. These were just creatures that were pissed off because Moses was covered in the pheromone.
So the alien lands.
Well, I mean, we get that the collision with the car on the street that interrupts the mugging.
Right. And the alien thing pops out and scratches Moses, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" Right? And so they track it down, and
They think it's maybe like an orangutan or something like
yeah,
that.
some sort of earthly animal, if you will.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the shot where it's in the container?
That was cool.
Yeah, a good use of lighting, and they take the fireworks and shoot the alien, I guess, and then it creates all that smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses is like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go kill it,"
He just goes, kicks the shit out of it.
and he does. They drag the creature to Ron, their weed dealer, played by Nick Frost.
Well, I liked along the way when they run into the girls, because they first go to the girls, and one of them, what is the comment that she makes about not wanting to touch the alien?
Oh, because she doesn't want gonorrhea.
Chlamydia.
That's what I meant.
She didn't want chlamydia, which was based off of Joe Cornish went around and asked a bunch of kids their thoughts on aliens, as well as what weapons they'd use to kill them. And that's what he used in this movie. And he actually found a female that said, I wouldn't touch it because I didn't want chlamydia.
Yeah. And so we are also at this time introduced to
Brewis, he's feeling very timid at the elevator.
because he sees the boys walk in and the elevator comes and the boys get on and he's just immediately like, "Oh, I'll take the next one. It's fine."
He's very passive.
Ironically enough, they're all going to the same place,
Mhm.
right? He's going to go get the weed and the boys want some answers and they're hoping Ron can help them out.
Well, they're also hoping that Ron will hook them up so that they can get some media attention or something and make some money off this thing.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we also see Sam. She's taken in by her neighbor. So she is apparently liked in the tower here because her neighbor takes her in and consoles her about her mugging.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this bit because it's one of those moments where you can breathe. And I like how the lady's like, "Excuse my French, but they're little fucking monsters." And I'm thinking, yeah, at this point, they are little fucking monsters, little shit asses.
Sam does eventually. She ends up briefly chatting with the authorities about her mugging, and maybe they can try and figure something out to help her out.
Yeah. Yeah. She describes what Moses was wearing, and it's a busy night for the cops anyway, because it's November 5th and London is celebrating. And so you have a lot of fireworks and commotion and noise going off. And so it's told to us that the police are pretty busy tonight.
They must have had an idea about Moses or something, because how did they find him so quickly?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not a huge area. And
I was thinking that they're just looking for, young kids that are out and about in the vicinity.
yeah, and they just happened upon him, I guess. While they're at Ron's, they're talking about, wanting to be famous, and what's his name? Moses wants to see if it's cool if they leave the thing there.
For safekeeping.
And so we are introduced to Hi-Hat because Ron says, "Well, it's not my decision," right? And so we're introduced to Hi-Hat in Ron's weed room,
Right, because it's probably the safest room in the building.
right?
Were you like me? Were you kind of digging his rap a little?
A little bit. I was digging the room more, but, that's just me.
You were probably drooling a little.
Just a little bit. I had my own pheromones going on. And so Hi-Hat is talking to Moses, and he's like, "Yeah, you can leave this thing here. I don't care, but you got to do something for me." And he essentially promotes him. He gives him some white to sell, and
He wants 300 back.
300 pounds. And Moses is like, yeah, bruv, allow it. And he goes out and all the guys are like, "You got promoted. You're the man, blah, 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 blah." And while they're celebrating,
Outside, we see all of these little hits that are impacting on the surface.
and I think it's a great shot, and it's just letting us, the audience, know that there's more coming.
Yep.
Well, what I liked about it is while we're seeing these meteors come down, we also got the fireworks going up in the background, so you could see the difference and making them really stand out.
Yeah. And as they're hitting, one hits close, and one of the guys, it might have even been past, he was like, "It's close, man. Let's go do it."
Yeah, let's go get them.
I think it's going to be more of these small ones.
Yeah, they want to kill him, right? And and Moses is like, "Allow it." and they all leave, and I guess they all live in this building.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
This is the thing about, I guess, not a lot of people understand. When it says attack the block is the big apartment complex with a bunch of different towers. It's not like the street outside. That's what they call this complex, the block.
Yep. And so everybody stops off at their own little flat to pick up whatever weapon of choice that they want to have to engage with.
Which one would you have grabbed? Which weapon?
I like the samurai sword.
I do too. If I don't have a gun, because I mean, we don't know if bullets harm them at this point, but if I don't have a gun, then samurai is my next fucking choice for sure. That or the baseball bat.
It would have been hard for me because I have all the swords all around my room. Which sword would I have grabbed?
I don't know. Why are you asking me?
I'm thinking maybe the Thundercat sword, the Sword of Omens, or my He-Man sword.
Okay, well, I'll just say this. You have to be able to pick that fucker up and swing it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that with those swords?
I think so. I've swung it around a few times.
All right. I would do samurai because it's lighter and probably more efficient of a killing weapon.
Uh-huh.
But that's just me.
Well, Moses is pretty badass with it.
Fuck yeah, he is.
So among the other weapons, besides the weapons, they also grab fireworks. And then who is it that gets, take the dog out with you?
It's Dennis. He's the one that grabs the samurai sword. And so poor Dennis has to take this dog with him. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, you fuckers better not kill this dog.
It turned into a puppy snuff film.
It kind of did. But
But we never actually get for sure if the dog died. We think the dog died.
I like that you think that, bud.
Yeah.
That
Glass
helps.
is half full. That
Yeah.
doesn't happen a lot here on the Three Guys. So once we get into the park and we get the emergence of that critter, man, he is badass. That critter is badass looking.
I like they're looking inside the, what do you call it? The pod thing that it lands.
Mhm.
It kind of reminded me of Alien.
Mhm.
It just kind of had little bits of it, right? And they're like, wait a minute.
And then you hear the screech, and then okay, wait, he's over there. And then you see him jump down off of the big toy.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh,
Yeah. And then they're going to go confront it.
they're led over there because of the dog. The dog goes over there.
That's right. And this is where, you get the yelps. And that dude's like, oh no, you killed my fucking dog, man. And he goes to rush, but everyone stops him because they're like, this isn't the same thing we just fucking killed. This is something different.
This is something different.
And I think when they see the eye, no, you don't even see the eyes. When
No,
you
it
see
has
the
no
teeth.
eyes. It
Yeah.
has no eyes.
And the silhouette.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, pretty ominous.
Yeah. When I looked at him, I go, oh man, that's like a mini Yeti or something like that. And they all book. They take off.
Go on. Right. But they're being chased.
I thought it was a pretty good chase scene.
I thought it was pretty good too. And I got to hand it to them for the way they shot this. I thought having these kids, it's hard for kids to carry a film. And I think these guys did a great job.
How did the kids on the bike keep up with the kids on the mopeds and little motorcycle?
Strong legs.
They were properly motivated by the critter behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. But
They happen into the police, and the police is like, whoa, 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 whoa. And they stop. It's like, oh boy.
yeah. And I thought it was kind of weird that Sam was with them, but maybe that's how they do things in London.
Yeah.
They bring her around to identify
Yeah.
the kid.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like a practical idea because, if you are sitting there in the light, in the van, and people outside you, you stopped me, and I see you next time around. What the fuck was that about?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did she identify him by his clothes? Because his face was covered when he mugged her. So she was like, yeah, that's him. How did she know that was him?
His voice.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, he talked to her and he grabbed the ring.
But I felt like she was in the van when she identified him. How'd she hear his voice?
She didn't identify him in the van. They just pulled him over because he had a black hat and with a red brim.
Yeah.
Regardless of that, Sam sees, she sees the Yeti, the mini Yeti approaching, and she's like, oh shit.
I like how when the officers come up and start grabbing him and taking him to the van, he's like, hurry up. Come on, get me in there. Get me in there. Get me in there. Because he knows what's fucking coming.
Well, what I like the scene where most of his friends get in and they let him out of the cage area and she immediately rushes into the cage.
Yeah, because she figures that would be a safe spot because she's not only hiding from the Yeti creatures, but from them too, because she's probably still freaked out about what happened.
Yeah, so he's eager. He's out of the cage, and she goes right into the cage. Get me, she'll lock me in there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's Dennis who comes to his rescue, and the other one's split up, and one of them gets held up in a dumpster, which we get cut tos later on.
That's Biggs.
I was curious because of the whole thing with the pheromones and all that, why the alien stayed by that dumpster. And I guess that's a question a lot of people have asked online. And the director has actually talked about it, is that it could smell Moses and the pheromones on this kid. And so every time he opened up the dumpster, it could smell him again. Every time he closed the dumpster, it sat there looking for where he went because it doesn't have eyes.
Okay.
So that's why it stuck around.
Okay. I just assumed that kid went in and helped kill the alien because there was 3 of them that went in there. So I figured he just had DNA on him. What'd you guys think of the kill when he gets the officers?
You know, the splashy chunks on the windshield, not on the windshield, but on the window on the side of the van. That added some gravitas to the kill.
Yeah, it wasn't gonna be like a PG alien movie. I mean, we got some gore in this, and it was very little, but it was very effective.
Well, you know instantly the stakes are higher, that there's going to be deaths in this movie.
Agreed.
So they get some fireworks underneath the van, and that causes enough of a diversion.
I kept thinking, is that van going to explode with all those fireworks underneath it?
I thought the same thing, but it doesn't. And so Moses and Dennis and Sam are in the van, and they let Sam out, and they take the van and they drive away.
And then we get this one brief little moment, which was, doggone it, pretty darn fun. Brewis, he's walking along, and he happens to see that his car was the one that was hit by that initial meteorite that interrupted Sam and Moses together.
Except it wasn't his car.
It was his dad's car.
It was his dad's car.
And he's freaked out about it. But the bit I love is because he calls Ron and he wants to come back up. But then all of a sudden there's cops and he immediately dives over the hedges.
Yeah, he goes paranoid thinking they're after him.
Yeah.
So then we get the police van. They're careening crazily along this underground garage. And here comes Hi-Hats in his car, and they collide with each other.
That was a pretty nasty hit.
Talk about some shitty timing.
There's
right?
a lot of convenience in this movie, I kept thinking.
Now, there's a lot of convenience in every movie. So they hit Hi-Hat, and they're like, oh, fuck, right? But maybe if we just talk to him, he'll be cool about it. But Hi-Hat doesn't strike me as a rational human being. And so
he's got to make a stink.
He's all pissed off, right? And he wants to shoot Moses, but Pest starts telling him they're aliens. And I mean, if we were going to lie to you, why would we make up aliens? Blah, blah, blah.
Do you know that how Joe Cornish said he identified the villain in this movie, how you could tell it was Hi-Hats?
How?
Because he's the only one with a gun.
He's the only one with a gun?
Yeah, he's the only one that actually is using a gun. Even when the kids are given an opportunity, they stick to their non-gun weapons.
Ah, well, there you go.
So Sam, during this whole tense showdown, she flees. She gets the fuck out of there. And then right at this moment, we see that little silhouette in the background. It's just like, oh, shit.
And then it falls behind Hi-Hat's car. And Hi-Hat looks at his buddy and says, go look what it is. And the dude's like, I don't want to fucking do it.
Yeah, and so, we have the shot of the feet underneath the car, and you're waiting to see what type of interruption there's going to be. The critter's going to be around here, and he gets to the back of the car. Oh, there's no critter. We didn't see a critter underneath the car. Oh, it's behind him.
And boom, he gets attacked. And he gets his throat ripped out.
Which, I again, at the beginning, you think it's going to be kind of a kid's movie, like a Goonies movie. I was pretty violent for that scene of him getting his throat ripped out.
Yeah. It was a step above the ambulance, right? And so everyone starts freaking out, and Hi-Hat shoots this thing
a bunch of times.
And it just runs away.
I also loved the reveal of the eyes in the dark right before the kill. In the background, you see the eyes light up. It's just like, oh.
Yeah.
And I knew that once we had that, this is going to be a typical reveal for these critters, either the teeth or the eyes.
Right.
The glow.
Right.
That's strange because they said the critters didn't have eyes
But you see the eyes just the same.
because they work off of smell. So did we actually see their eyes?
Yes.
I thought I saw eyes.
Okay.
So
On the Blu-ray that I watched, the loading of the Blu-ray is eyes that gradually fill in from left to right with a glow.
yeah, there you go.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police.
As the aliens invade their neighborhood, the boys seek shelter in their apartment block, Wyndham Tower. Biggs hides in a bin, Pest is injured, and they cross paths with Samantha again, who they convince to treat Pest's wound. When an alien breaks into her flat, Moses kills it, earning her trust. The group takes refuge in another apartment, but the aliens break in, killing Dennis. The girls in the flat help fight back, but eventually force the boys out, believing that they are attracting the creatures. Hi-Hats returns with more muscle, but is ultimately killed by the aliens. The survivors flee to Ron's weed room, but more aliens attack, killing Jerome. With the remaining group, Samantha, Moses, Pest, Ron, and customer Brewis trapped, Brewis realizes the aliens are following a pheromone trail left on Moses since he killed the female creature. And so they take off and they need a place to go.
And they think of the girls' apartment, one of the girls' apartment, because she has one of those metal gates on the door, which I'm thinking that's not going to keep those aliens out.
It almost did. It almost did. And this is a good bit of dialogue. And
Are you talking about before or after they get there? Because before they get there, they're being chased by a Yeti and they get split up. This is the bit where we have them on their bikes and they're riding up the paths, and then Biggs, he ends up getting stuck in that dumpster.
uh-huh.
We also get a callback to where one of the kids wanted to see if he could jump from one stairwell to another.
Parkour.
And he gets that. Another one jumps down from a wall.
Yeah, it's a lot of great shots, and they're just trying to survive, right?
So many close calls, though.
They're just running.
Yeah, and so they get in, they get it just inside they get inside the door just at the last moment, and you get one of those critters outside, but he breaks through the door and he ends up grabbing onto Pet's leg.
And I was thinking, I wonder if these were the kinds of creatures that when they bite you, you get infected,
Right.
or something like
I
that.
was waiting
Me
for
too.
that.
Yeah. And as they narrowly escape and go up the elevator, they run into Sam, who lives there.
Again, convenience.
And
They've more or less forced their way into Sam's flat.
right, because they're running from this creature.
They're running for their lives.
And Sam's like, fuck this, you guys got to get the fuck out, right? But then she sees that Pest is injured, and Pest is like, aren't you a nurse? Aren't you supposed to help me?
And so they ask for her to help him.
Right. And she does.
Well, she doesn't originally do it voluntarily. She's pretty pissed about it.
Yeah, but she still does it.
She still does it.
That's my point. And
We cut to Brewis and Ron. They're sitting there on the couch and they're just chatting.
is this the bit where we cut to them and they're not doing anything for like 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And then they exhale?
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the day.
We get a brief shot. Okay, these critters, they are now inside the block. Oh, shit.
When did we get the scene of like 20 of them climbing up the side of the building?
That doesn't happen yet.
Okay.
You know what this bit reminded me of was them all coming into the block and everything kind of being centralized in this area. The Raid
Yes.
and Dread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And yeah, that's a great callback. And I would love to have us review both of those movies.
Yeah. Probably together.
Oh, that would be an interesting watch, right? Because it's all about, that block experience.
Yeah.
You're inside.
One central location.
Yep.
Yeah.
They track the critter tracks them down to Sam's place, and he comes busting through the door and wreaking havoc. But here comes Moses. And then Sam, she flees out of the... Wait, where'd she go? And she's out in the hallway and she hears a big old screech. And then she decides, I'm going to stick with you guys.
Her chances of survival are probably better. And so now they go up to the girls' apartment.
I want to talk about that kill that Moses had. That was a pretty ninja sidestep slice of the I mean, he's got some skills.
Doesn't one of them even call him a ninja?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. And again, I mean, the samurai sword, right? Can't go wrong with it.
Well, usually like props, I don't know if maybe it's different in England. Usually prop swords aren't even sharp. So I'm surprised it did that much damage.
You're assuming it was a prop sword.
Yeah. He could have won it at a kumite.
Maybe. Or maybe his dad bought it for him. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I love how she looks back at the guys and she comes back, wherever you guys are going, I'm going to.
Right.
But you're going to need a weapon.
And so she grabs a kitchen knife. Smart move.
Which I thought was funny because earlier she was eyeballing the guitar, I think, as a weapon.
Yeah, she was.
I half expected her to grab the guitar as they were leaving.
So did I.
Yeah.
We get a brief moment where Hi-Hat sees going on about the kind of night that he's had so far, and he's one kind of pissed motherfucker.
Because he thinks Moses has fucked him, and he's all kinds of pissed off. And even though he shot at an alien, he saw the alien kill his buddy, he still refuses to believe that they're aliens.
Whatever.
And he still thinks Moses is the enemy.
Yeah. I mean, this leads me to my public announcement for the day, kids. Don't get high on your own supply. There you go.
Moses, he gets a phone call from Biggs and he's stuck inside of a dumpster.
I loved how all of their phones, they kept saying like, I only have 1 credit left, or I've used all my minutes, or this, that, and the other. And so it kind of negates the whole cell phone thing. But not that they need it, because they all know what they're running from.
I just like the guy kept saying, you got to come rescue me. You got to come rescue me. And they're all like, fuck, no.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere, brah.
So they end up at Tia and Dimple's flat. And they go back and forth about what the hell's going on.
Yeah. And I like this bit because they tell the girls that the reason Sam's with them is because they mugged her that night. And who's the one that's with Moses? The girl? Is it Tia or is it Dimples?
I think it's Tia. She owns the flat.
Okay. Tia's like, no, you really? And she just kind of looks at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And I think this starts our turn.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because
she's calling him out.
And there's a moment that John Boyega's face shows remorse. I felt. And Samantha is like, yeah, well, I mean, that happened, but here we are, and we got to stick together kind of a thing.
One thing I think Pest says, I don't know if it was back at Sam's apartment or at this apartment, that he tells Sam, if we had known you were from the block, we wouldn't have mugged you. And I'm thinking, well, that's still shitty.
But
she says that. She calls him out.
Yeah, what difference does that make?
Yeah, it shouldn't.
And they find out that she actually lives in the apartment and that she's from the area. And yeah, they're like, well, we wouldn't have done that.
Bullshit.
Yeah. And she calls him out, which is good.
And then we see 2 sets of eyes out on the balcony. Oh, shit.
And then this is where they start crawling up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
so they break in, and then we get Dennis. He puts his helmet on, and unfortunately, he's going down.
Yeah, I didn't see this coming.
I honestly thought, again, even though we've seen some violence, usually don't kill off kids in these movies. You know, again, Goonies kind of thing. Once Dennis is killed, none of those kids are safe. I didn't think any of them were making it out except for maybe Moses.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I was thinking the death toll could be kind of high on this one.
I had written Pest off from the leg wound and I thought he was going to be like one of the next to go.
So it's pandemonium inside the flat, and we've got 2 of these critters in here. One is going after Moses. The other is going after the girls. And doggone it, Moses, he gets his blade stuck in the frickin' wall.
And just as you think that he's done for, who saves him?
Fucking Sam.
Yeah.
takes that blade and puts it right up into the critter's skull.
Yeah, which is a great shot.
And I love Tia, how she grabs the lamp.
And she breaks the bulb and starts electrocuting it.
Tasing them, yeah.
Yeah, fucking smart, right?
Yes.
And then the other one grabs the ice skate. And you use the blade from the ice skate
And
to
that's what she
kill him.
does him in with, is a freaking ice skate.
Yeah, survival, man, right?
Well, I just don't fuck with kids on the block.
There you go.
And so they leave only to find Hi-Hat is now shooting at them. God bless America.
And so they're running, and as they're trying to escape,
In the elevator.
Hi-Hat gets stuck in an elevator with his two cronies and some critters. And I thought to myself,
Yeah, that's
phew, good. Now
that's
we
the
don't
end of it.
Yeah, we don't have to deal with Hi-Hat no more.
Yeah,
right?
he's done for.
Yep. And then we cut to the kids going up to Ron's place because Ron's weed room is the safest place in the building. And they go in, and then we
get the reveal of Hi-Hat. It's Brewis. He's flagging an elevator. He's getting onto the elevator, and the door opens up, and there's Hi-Hat fucking standing there.
and I'm thinking, oh fuck, this guy's still here.
What'd you think about the background behind Hi-Hat in the elevator?
I like how he walks off nonchalantly and everything's just covered in blood.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that was good.
Well, I guess I better get the next one.
Yeah. Which he said earlier.
And then we get the two little kids.
Probe and Mayhem.
Probe and Mayhem. Yeah. And they see, this is that moment where we see all those critters going up the side of the building. And you're like, holy fuck.
Yep. They know where they're going now.
Well,
And
I kept thinking, was it Mayhem carrying the super soaker? Like, what the fuck is he going to do with a super soaker?
I thought that very same thing. And then I thought, well, what's he going to do? Get them wet like gremlins? And then I thought, no, I bet you it's gas.
Well, he made a comment of, well, you know, it depends on what's in the super soaker. I'm thinking, oh, they peed in it. Are we going to find out that they're allergic to pee or something?
That would have been good. I like that. And
during this as they're moving their way along, and it's super smoky in the hallway, this is where we lose Jerome.
Well, they fire those fireworks off. And that's what creates all the smoke.
Right. Because they're hoping to scare them off.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I didn't see Jerome going either.
Yeah, he was one of the likable ones because he was sensible and he kept saying we shouldn't be doing shit like this.
I like how when they're arguing about or when they're discussing about what they should be doing, a lot of them are like, we need to go home and just play FIFA.
Yeah. And, you know, it is by this point in the movie that these kids are coming across as just like kids. They're not bad people. Now, what we get at the beginning of the movie, yes, they are bad people because they're all hooded and cloaked, and we just see the menace that they are. But, you know, halfway through the movie, we are looking at these guys as, hey, these guys are regular, decent people.
Because they figured out this is life and death. And I think that going through something like this would turn anybody's perspective around.
I kept thinking still, they're little asshole kids who are just now in a dire situation. You know, of course they're going to try to, you know, hero up and save the day and save their own asses. But in the end, they're still the people that mugged Sam in the beginning.
Yes, they are.
I haven't seen any real change in them. I can just see them trying to save their own asses.
Oh, well.
I didn't see it like that at all.
Nah, me neither. Me neither.
So they make their way up to Ron's place, and Ron lets them in, but oh, hey, Hi-Hats. He's there. Shit.
It's like this fucking guy won't go away, right? And
he starts monologuing with Moses, and then Moses spots over his shoulders, oh shit.
that shot from the window,
Yes.
and all of them coming
With
up.
like what is it, like 8 sets of eyes or something like that?
Yeah.
And this is the typical, you know, Hollywood sci-fi movie of there's something behind you. There ain't shit behind me.
Oh yeah, he doesn't think so.
But Moses knows that if he makes a move, Hi-Hat's pulling on that trigger, so he's just got to sit there and take it.
Yeah. And then the creatures come in.
They come crashing in. So everybody flees, and Hi-Hat, he turns around, and he is completely, you know, flat-footed, and oh, shit. And he goes down, and then you get that first look as the critters are all around him, and Hi-Hat's like, oh, he's in complete shock, And then we get a second look, and half of his skin is missing off of his, half of his face, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
I thought this was a great use of
Practical
and gore.
Yes.
right? Because it's not too much that you linger on it, but you see it and it's going to stay with you. You know what I mean?
Was it? Did you feel bad for him at all, or was it a satisfying kill?
I gotta be honest. I breathed a little bit easier knowing that he was out of the picture, because unlike you, I suppose, I'm rooting for Moses at this point, and he is the antagonist to Moses' protagonist.
Yes, absolutely.
So I felt, okay, cool. One down, one more problem to go. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all go into the read room.
Well, I just want to point out, I wasn't rooting for Moses to die. I just wasn't rooting for him. I usually in these movies, you want to care about the hero. You want to be drawn in. You want to really like him and support him and want him to win. At this point in the movie, I still can't, I haven't been drawn in. I don't feel like I would feel any remorse if Moses died.
So they are now just kind of sort of chilling, if you will, in the weed room. And as they sit there, they are contemplating that, what are we going to do?
Right. And because of the black light in the weed room, they notice, I guess we'll just call it jizz all over Moses' jacket. And Brewis is kind of a zoologist or something with animals. And he comes up with this theory.
It's a compelling argument.
Well,
it's a compelling theory.
One thing I didn't mention earlier was in one of the apartments, there was a TV screen that was talking about the moth. Did you catch what they were talking about?
No.
No, I just knew it was National Geographic. It was Ron's house.
It foreshadowed the whole movie. It basically said the moth draws in mates using pheromones. And so right there, it told us this whole movie was going to be about pheromones, but that doesn't click until this end scene where we realize it's been following Moses because of pheromones, just like this moth National Geographic show.
Right. And they're trying to figure out why. Why is this thing fucking after Moses, right?
Well,
And
thank goodness we had Brewis to explain it to us.
because he does. And then they come up with a plan. And Sam looks at Moses and is like, you don't have to do this. And Moses is like, no, I kind of do. I started this. I killed that thing. I brought this down all on us. And so now I'm going to own up and try and make it right.
Cut to Probs and Mayhem and their super soaker.
And they're hiding they're on a bridge. They're looking down on the dumpster. They want to help
Yep.
Biggs.
Biggs.
They want to help Biggs. And this is where we find out what's in the fucking super soaker. And I thought it was wonderful. I love when little kids just are up to shenanigans.
These are more than shenanigans.
Okay, but if they were doing it to a homeless guy, I would have a really big problem with it. But they're doing it to a fucking space creature.
Furry alien dog.
Yeah, so I was okay with it.
But I have to say, I feel like Mayhem earned his nickname.
Absolutely. He lit the firework and blazed that motherfucker up.
Biggs, he watches the critter burn and he's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I bet you that smelled horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And so the kids flee and the authorities, they show up and then they're like, fuck. And then all of a sudden they're in the dumpster right next to Biggs,
Yeah.
hiding from the police.
Biggs thought he could get out, but he gets two more guests.
And I love what Biggs says to them when they're sitting in there. So you're Probs and you're Mayhem? Yeah.
Yeah, they've earned their name. Realizing Moses is the target, the group devises a plan. Since Samantha isn't marked with the pheromones, she sneaks past the aliens and turns on the gas in Moses' apartment. Moses then lures the aliens, carrying the female alien corpse on his back, into the flat and ignites it with a firework. Leaping from the window just in time, The explosion kills the creature, and Moses survives by grabbing a Union Jack flag on his way down. In the aftermath, Moses, Pess, Brewis, and Ron are arrested. When asked to identify them as the killers, Samantha instead tells police they protected her. As the police van pulls away, cheers erupt from the block for Moses, and he finally smiles. No longer just a thug, but a hero of the block. Roll credits. And so they
take the UV light and then they take a thorough, good look at Sam to make sure she's not covered with anything.
And they have this plan. Sam is going to sneak down to Moses' apartment, one floor down, and she's going to make her way there. And then she's supposed to call him when she gets there.
I really dug how many that you are able to see that there are probably a couple dozen of them in the room.
Sure.
And she's got to be ballsy to stand there and realize she's probably okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It reminded me of, did you ever see Alien Romulus?
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
When they're tiptoeing and trying not to sweat or their body temperature.
Yeah, any body temperature fluctuation will set off the eggs.
Yeah, it's what it kind of reminded me of. And it was a good tense moment.
Also briefly, Ron pokes his nose out. Is it safe to come out?
And she's like, no.
He's like, okay then.
He shuts the door. And so she makes it out. She goes downstairs and she calls Moses.
I didn't have an inkling of a clue of what they were going to do until I saw her start turning the gas on.
Yeah. And this is a very telling moment for us as well. She gets downstairs and she calls Moses, and she's kind of taken back with the condition of the apartment. And then she asks Moses if he had a little brother. And it's because everything in that apartment was young. And so she asks him, how old are you? And it turns out he's only 15 years old. And his uncle, who he lives with, is never around. And he's just kind of on his own. And it was at this point where I thought, okay, you're a product of your environment. Mm-hmm. And he has taken to what he thought was the path he was going to go down out of necessity, out of survival. But because of this event, I think it changes for him. And so I think Sam realizes that as well. And now she's really on his side.
Yeah. And certainly I feel similarly based on how the movie closes.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, something to go back to. There was another turning point as well. Earlier on, what did you think of the scene where Moses got the ring back to Sam?
Oh, right before he leaves. Oh, right before she leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that part.
Yeah.
I mean, that
I felt like that was kind of a symbolic changing.
I thought it was a symbolic changing. Yeah. She doesn't even ask him. He looks to Pest and says, give me the fucking ring. And he gives it back to her because he feels bad.
Did you notice Pest still protested though?
Oh yeah. No, it's ours. And so I think that you're right, John. This was a turning point where, he felt remorse for what he did. And
he's trying to make things right.
Yeah.
Right. With Sam, and then also getting rid of these critters.
Yeah. Because he knows this is his fault. That's a lot of responsibility for a 15-year-old.
No shit.
So, I mean, that's why I cut the guy some slack. But that's just me. And so in the apartment, Sam goes through and she starts turning on all the gas. She shuts the door like she's supposed to, or the window thingamadoodle.
One of the things, like when I thought earlier about why didn't the van explode, I kept thinking she's going to blow up the whole freaking building. It's going to burn down. All these people are going to be now homeless.
That's what I kind of thought too. But, we just had to play it out and go along with it.
Okay.
And
didn't Moses look so badass when he was leaving the weed room?
He puts the dead alien on his backpack, whatever, and he's got
the samurai sword in his right hand, and I don't know what's in his left hand. Baseball bat?
A bottle rocket?
Yeah, bottle rocket.
Yeah.
I actually had to giggle at this scene, and it was hard for me to take it seriously because I kept thinking, the creatures, it's just been revealed that it's pheromones that's drawing in all these creatures. And basically this female is the alien's little fuck toy. It's what they're seeking out. So basically he's badass running with his ninja sword, through the hallways with a fuck toy strapped to his back.
I really enjoyed having Moses scrambling frantically down those steps with all those critters right behind him.
Oh, it's a great tense moment. And Joe Cornish does a really good job filming this. And I felt kind of tense. And I thought, okay, so he's going to run into the apartment and he's going to blow up the apartment. How's he going to get out?
No shit.
Do you know what one of Joe Cornish's favorite movies is?
Die Hard.
Die Hard. And so when he runs through, he traps them all. He runs out and he lights the fires in, it blows up, and he jumps out with the big fireball and all that.
Yep.
It reminded me a lot of Die Hard,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was pretty cool.
And conveniently, we already have a flag that he can grab onto.
I'm shocked that thing held him. I mean, how come it just didn't pull off the the pole? That would have ended his life.
He did say he was willing to sacrifice his life. If I die, I die, kind of thing.
Yeah, because he felt responsible and he's taking accountability for what he did. And so the creatures are destroyed. And
the police show up and they arrest everybody.
Everybody. And the kids even knew that, right? They knew that the cops were going to arrest him. And as they're arresting Moses and Pest and throwing them in the back of the paddy wagon, the officers are talking to Sam.
Right.
And they're like, what did they say? They said, are you sure that, or is this the guy who assaulted you? And don't feel like you can't say anything. Don't let them intimidate you and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And she says, no, they fucking saved me. So that tells me that Sam has forgiven them. And if Sam has forgiven them, then we as the audience
should
forgive them. Right. And I thought it was a kind of an uplifting end, because yes, he's probably going to take a lot of shit for this and maybe be in trouble. I don't know, but he doesn't fight getting arrested. He sits back there. And then when everybody starts chanting his name for the first time in the movie, he smiles.
One thing I thought is, without Sam saying anything, there are no witnesses. There's nobody to basically tie Moses to anything. So I don't think they can hold him.
Yeah, maybe. And who knows? Maybe they drive 5 feet down the road, stop, and let him out.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll have to wait for the sequel. And that was Attack the Block. All right. What do you guys think? You guys ready to rate this flick?
I'm ready to rate this flick. What about you, John? Are you ready to rate this flick?
Allow it.
All right. There you go. Hey, Professor, how do we do our ratings?
We do our ratings on a scale of 1 to 5 fucks. 5 fucks is a movie that we think is cinematic gold. A 1 fuck movie is where you get done watching it and you're thinking, I'm never watching that again.
And what's a 0?
A 0 fuck movie is where you get done watching it, you turn to your buddy and you're like, oh, for shit's sake, what the hell? Why would you make me? I want 1 hour and 28 minutes of my life back.
Or in other words, we just don't give a fuck. All right, Professor, your movie, your review.
Attack the Block is a science fiction movie that I think delivers. It has a good set of alien creatures that I enjoy each time they're on the screen, with the glow that they emanate, as well as the dark black of their fur. They are an intimidating creature that is loose in a city. And what's so fun about this movie is it takes place over the course of one night. This is just one crazy night. And John Boyega's character of Moses, I thought he was good to watch. I also appreciated the character of Sam and how they have their story arc that changes and evolves over the arc of the movie. The movie is light. It moves briskly. The special effects of the limited amount of gore that we see, I think, is done effectively. We have some gore, but not over the top gore. And it, in general, I think makes for a fun sort of watch that is nothing to be taken too seriously. But on the other hand, it keeps you compelled and interested as the story moves along. By the end of the movie, I am very much believing that Moses is a changed person and that he and Sam are going to have a more meaningful relationship with each other based on how they seem to have grown with each other. I don't know if they're going to date or anything like that, but I have the movie ending with a sense of hope that these characters are going to be somewhat dependent on each other in a way that's going to benefit both of them. By the end of the movie, I'm thinking that's a cool watch, and I have no bad feelings about any of our characters that are still with us. It was a bummer to have, the body count be the body count, but inevitably that's what you're going to get with these little critters that run and wreak havoc throughout the story. I'm giving this movie 3.75 fucks.
3.75 fucks from the professor.
Would you like me to go next?
Okay, buddy, you go.
Before I do, Don.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to guess my rating?
Fuck, I don't know. You've talked shit about this movie the entire night, and then...
I will say, you guys may have swayed me a little bit on a few things.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. You were going to give Attack the Block 3.25 fucks.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay. Attack the Block is a sharp blend of sci-fi thrills and social commentary, and Joe Cornish deserves credit for crafting a film that is both entertaining and thought-provoking. The character arc from street punks to unlikely heroes is handled well, with John Boyega delivering a strong performance as Moses. I like how the movie made me go from judging him to wanting to root for him. That said, Moses always seemed oddly fearless, and some of the plot conveniences really struck out for me. The creatures looked a little bit fake too, like gorillas on their way to a rave. It's a solid watch, but for me, it's a one and done. Good message, just not a rewatcher. It's for those reasons I'm giving Attack the Block 3.25 out of 5 fucks.
Bam, nailed it. I guess it's my turn.
You go next.
Thanks, buddy. I enjoyed Attack the Block. I enjoyed the characters. I like how we were introduced to Boyega and the boys and how their arc completed at the end. I think it was well made, and at an hour and 28 minutes, I love that. It was a lot of fun, and I have a soft spot in my heart for a lot of the British movies that I watch. So I really enjoyed it. I would definitely watch this movie again, and I'm giving Attack the Block 3.5 fucks. With 3.75 fucks from the professor, 3.25 fucks from the comic book guy, and 3.5 fucks from myself, that gives Attack the Block an average of 3.5 fucks. Which now ties it in the 19th spot with Devotion, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, Free Guy, Little Miss Sunshine, Peanut Butter Falcon, Heat, and Big Trouble in Little China. It is slightly better than Tango and Cash, Sicario, Tremors, Ocean's 12, Whiplash, Barbarian, Summer School, and It Chapters 1 and 2. And it is slightly worse than The Shining, Commando, Top Gun, and 1917. So, there you have it. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Three Guys in a Flick. If you would like to know which movie we're going to be reviewing next, please check out the website. Speaking of which, hey, John, where can they find us?
They can find us at www.threeguysinaflick.com, where we post all of our shows, our show notes, anything else we feel like, and there's a form on there that you can use to submit a movie you'd like to go in the helmet and possibly have us review next. You can also find us at social media, all of social media, where I am now on Tuesdays posting a preview of what movie we will be releasing that following Thursday. And you can find us at any place that hosts podcasts. In fact, while you're listening to us, give us a like. Make sure to subscribe so you can hear when the movies come out, as well as you can leave a comment, and in your comment, you can include a movie you'd like us to review.
All right. I just want to thank anybody who listens and who has suggested a movie. If you keep listening, we'll keep recording. For Three Guys in a Flick, I'm Don.
I'm John.
And I'm Ken. Thanks for listening, bruv.
Three guys with some mics, yeah, dive into the flicks. We're here for the real talk, no time for the tricks. Don as the captain, steering us right. Kid drops knowledge, shedding light. John with the comics, bringing the hype. From the good, the bad, to the absurd, we break it down, make sure you're heard. Passion for the screen, we ride or die about movies. You know, we always give a fuck, no lie.
No one's going to call you mayhem if you keep acting like such a pussy.
That's still got legs.
You like that one still?
I just don't know if it's good to use the word pussy in the first 15 seconds of the show.
Pussy, pussy, pussy.
Swearing.
Yeah, it just depends on what's on their no-no list.
Shit, piss, cunt, fuck, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits.
Hey, whoa. Let's not celebrate it, Frank. No, that's been destroyed.
I just want to say chlamydia.
You can say chlamydia all you want, buddy.
And then the second and last look we get at him with the skin missing.
Are you talking about hi-hat?
You said Moses went down.
Damn it.
So, because the female was their mate, you classify her as a fuck toy?
Not so much like that. Not when you say it like that. I'm more ready than a randy furry dog high on pheromones looking for a free leg to shag. Absolutely. I came here to talk aliens and bad decisions, and I'm all out of aliens.
All right, I have like 3. How many you got?
I have 3 good ones, I think.
Okay.
And one bad one.
Yeah.
Can we all just agree that we have Attack the Cock?
No, I did not have that.
What? That was the first thing that popped in my head.
That wasn't the first thing that popped in my head.
All right, what'd you got?
I had Attack the Butt.
Attack the Butt. Okay. Professor?
Attract my cock.
Attract my cock. That's good. Okay. Attack the Clit.
Attack the Backside.
Ass smack my cock.
Attack in the Black.
There's definitely a theme to yours, and are you trying to hint to something, or
I don't know. Maybe I'm just in that mood. I don't know.
all right? May all of your days and nights be filled with happiness. All right, fuck off. Good night.
Catch the vibe as three guys in a fight, keep the passion alive. Fuck that.